It's been a long day. Your boss was breathing down your neck, the commute was a nightmare, and you're finally sitting on your couch, exhausted. You open an app, maybe it's Amazon, maybe it's TikTok Shop, and you see it. A $45 mechanical keyboard with creamy switches, or a skincare set you saw in a productivity hack video. You don't need it. You have a keyboard. Your skin is fine. But in that moment, as you click that button, you feel a tiny electric surge of relief. For about 3 seconds, the stress of your job disappears. You feel like a person who has their life together. Then, 48 hours later, the package arrives. You open the box, look at the item for 30 seconds, and nothing. The spark is gone. You toss it on the pile of other must-haves and go back to feeling stressed, only now your bank account is $45 lighter. Here's the thing, you aren't a shopaholic. You're not even necessarily bad with money. You're just a biological machine that has been hijacked. My name is Mike, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychological traps that keep the middle class from ever actually becoming wealthy. If you're someone who feels like your paycheck disappears into a black hole of small purchases, and you can't figure out why you keep buying things you don't even use, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, we need to have a very honest, slightly uncomfortable conversation about why you're actually broke. And I'll give you a hint. It's not because of inflation, though that's not helping. It's because your brain has learned to use your credit card as a drug. The assumption, I'm buying a product. Most people assume that when they buy something, they are making a rational exchange. I give you $100, you give me this pair of sneakers. But that's a lie. In the modern economy, you aren't buying the sneakers. You are buying the anticipation of the sneakers. Here's what most people don't realize. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical, it's the craving chemical. If you look at a brain scan of someone about to make a purchase, the dopamine spikes before the money leaves the account. It peaks the moment you decide to buy. The second you actually own the item, the dopamine drops. This is why you feel that post-purchase regret, or why the box sits unopened on your kitchen counter for 3 days. The hit is over. You're already looking for the next thing to crave. Let's look at some numbers because I know some of you think it's just a $20 impulse buy, Mike. Get off my back. According to a study by Slick Deals, the average American spends roughly $314 per month on impulse purchases. That's $3,768 a year. Now, you might be thinking, that's not that much. That's not wealth-building money. This is where it gets really interesting. Let's do the actual math. If you took that $314 a month, money you are literally spending on things you don't even remember buying 6 months later, and you put it into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, averaging 10% annually, in 10 years, you'd have $64,321. In 20 years, you'd have $238,443. In 30 years, you'd have $710,128. You aren't just spending $45 on a mechanical keyboard. You are spending a 7-figure retirement on a series of tiny 3-second dopamine hits. You are literally trading your future freedom for a temporary chemical surge to mask the fact that you're bored or stressed. The biological hijack. Now you might be thinking, Mike, I'm smarter than that. I only buy things that are on sale. Look, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but the sale is the ultimate dopamine trap. Retailers know that your brain perceives a 50% off sticker as a win. Evolutionarily, your brain thinks you just found a bush full of berries in the middle of winter. It rewards you for saving money, even though you're spending money you wouldn't have spent otherwise. It's like a hunter-gatherer logic applied to a digital world. Your brain sees a limited time offer and goes into survival mode. I have to get this now or I lose the resource. But the resource is a plastic air fryer you're going to use twice. The corporations know this. They have spent billions, literally billions, optimizing their apps to reduce friction. Friction is the enemy of the dopamine hit. In the old days, if you wanted to buy something, you had to get in a car, drive to a store, find the item, and stand in line. That gave your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, time to wake up and say, hey, idiot, you don't need another pair of khaki shorts. Today, they have one-click buy. They have buy now, pay later. They have saved your credit card info and your Face ID. They have removed every single obstacle between your impulse and your bank account. They want the money to leave your pocket before your logic has a chance to put its pants on. The self-care objection. I can already hear the comments. But Mike, life is hard. I work 50 hours a week. If I want to buy a $15 candle or a new video game to feel better, that's just self-care. I deserve it. I'm going to be very direct with you. Spending money you don't have to buy things you don't need is not self-care, it's self-sabotage. If your life is so stressful that you need to spend money to cope with it, you don't have a spending problem, you have a lifestyle problem. But instead of fixing the lifestyle by upskilling, finding a better job, or setting boundaries, you're using Target runs as an anesthetic. Think of it like this. If you have a broken leg, taking a painkiller doesn't fix the bone. It just makes you forget it's broken while you walk on it and make the injury worse. Dopamine spending is the financial equivalent of an OxyContin habit. It numbs the pain of being broke or unfulfilled, but it ensures you stay broke and unfulfilled. The math of the hit. Let's look at the buy now, pay later (BNPL) trap, because this is where the math gets truly ugly. Services like Affirm or Klarna have exploded. They tell you, why pay $400 for this new iPad when you can pay $25 a month? Here's what they don't tell you. When you break a purchase into easy payments, you completely bypass the pain of paying. Neuroeconomics shows that spending cash actually triggers the same part of the brain as physical pain. But when you use BNPL, that pain signal is silenced. If you have 5 different $30 installments coming out of your account every month, you feel like you're spending almost nothing. But that's $150 a month in zombie debt. Let's say you're 25 years old. If you carry that $150 a month in lifestyle debt instead of investing it, by the time you're 65, that harmless habit has cost you $950,000. You are literally paying nearly $1 million for the privilege of owning gadgets that will be in a landfill by 2030. Does that feel like self-care to you? Because to me, it looks like a tragedy. How to break the loop. All right, I've been a bit of a jerk. Let's talk about how we actually fix this, because you can't just willpower your way out of a dopamine loop. Your brain is stronger than your will. You have to use friction. 1. The 72-hour rule. This is the simplest and most effective tool in your arsenal. If you see something you want online, you are allowed to put it in the cart, but you are not allowed to click buy for 72 hours. Why? Because dopamine is a short-lived chemical. After 3 days, the anticipation spike dies down. Your prefrontal cortex wakes up. Usually, you'll look at the cart on Thursday and think, why on earth did I want a $60 marble coaster set? 2. The hour wage calculation. Stop looking at prices in dollars. Start looking at them in life energy. If you make $25 an hour after taxes and you want to buy a $200 pair of shoes, ask yourself, is this worth 8 hours of sitting in that cubicle? Am I willing to trade an entire Monday, the commute, the meetings, the stress for these shoes? Usually the answer is a hard no. 3. Delete the apps. I'm serious. Delete Amazon, delete Instagram, delete Temu. If you actually need something, you can go to the website on a laptop. By making yourself log in and find the item manually, you add friction. That friction is the gap where logic lives. 4. The $2,000 rule. Before you spend a single dime on a want, you must have at least $2,000 in a liquid emergency fund. If you don't have that, every impulse buy is a literal emergency. You are one flat tire away from financial ruin, and you're buying $12 cocktails. Stop it. Here is the thing that no one tells you about wealth. People think that being rich means you can buy whatever you want, whenever you want. But the people I know who are actually sustainably wealthy, they get their dopamine from a completely different source. The average person gets a dopamine hit when they spend. The wealthy person gets a dopamine hit when they save. Once you start seeing your brokerage account go up, or you see your net worth hit a new milestone, your brain starts to rewire itself. You start to crave the security of the number more than the novelty of the product. When you realize that $1,000 in the bank gives you more status and freedom than a $1,000 watch ever could, the game changes. You stop being a consumer and you start being an owner. Look, the world is designed to keep you in a state of constant craving. Your phone, your TV, and the billboards on your drive home are all designed to trigger that dopamine loop, so you keep handing over your life energy for plastic junk. But you don't have to play that game. The next time you feel that itch to click buy now, I want you to stop, take a breath, realize it's just a chemical, and then take that money and put it into your savings or your investment account. Give yourself a dopamine hit for building a future where you don't have to work a job you hate. That is the only purchase that is actually worth the price. If you made it this far, I want you to comment the word freedom below so I know who is actually serious about breaking the loop. If you want to know how the $2,000 rule works and save yourself from financial ruins, click this video right here where I break down the $10,000 formula. Go be great. I'll see you in the next one.